Hello, friends. It's August 7th, and today's theme is about believing, right? So, I've been sitting here for a few weeks now, bored off my rocker, watching lots of videos, doing all kinds of fun spiritual things that I never really have time for, right? Because I do keep myself pretty busy, so I don't always have a lot of time to sit down and watch videos about different stuff and about belief things and whatever. And I've talked about in different videos, the difference between religion and spirituality and things like that. And you can be religious and not spiritual. You can be spiritual and not religious. No judgment from me. It is between you and God, right? So anyway, I'm learning about all these different things, and today's word was belief. Ta-da! And every morning I do a morning meditation. I meditate a few times a day, but mostly 2 times a day, sometimes 3. And really lately, as I've sort of sloughed away old skin, literally and physically, absolutely. I've been making room for new things, new ideas, things that I never even knew about. And one of the things I never heard about, and I don't know if you've never heard about this either, is something called Lionsgate. And first of all, my mother was born, her birthday is August 9th, as is my brother-in-law, as is my uncle-in-law, and a whole bunch of other people that I know who are born on August 9th. I don't know what is 9 months before August 9th, but apparently a popular day for the people I know, or knew. So Lionsgate happens every year on 8/8, which of course 8's an infinity symbol, so it's special that way. But it also has to do with astrology, which I have to really be honest and say I don't know squat about. And there are a million YouTube videos because I've probably watched half of them, so you can learn more about sort of the astrological alignment. But what I took from it is this is why when Orion aligns on August 8th with Sirius and whatever else happens, like all this stuff that I don't understand. That's how the pyramids were built, to line up with Orion in the sky. So, the Egyptians, who were so smart, they thought this was important, and they lined the pyramids up to match Orion in the sky on August 8th. Well, it wasn't called August 8th back then, but it is now. So, who knows? I mean, who knows? If anything I've learned is that we don't know a lot about the universe. I mean, we know what we see in telescopes and we know what the rational mind tells us, but, there are possibilities, infinite possibilities for all kinds of things. And I'm of a believer that I don't know it all. I don't even know 1% of 1%. So, I go down this rabbit hole of what is Lionsgate? How did I get to almost 50 years old and never hear about this, seeing as it happens every year? And apparently for 2022, it's even more powerful because some other things align in the universe too. And so the long and short of it, this is this is the Cliff Note version for people who've never heard of it before. And again, there are some really great videos about it. I recommend you go watch them. And look at the meditations and things like that. But basically, Halloween, which, is a secular holiday here in the States, comes from the practice of Samhain, which dates back thousands of years, right? The Celts, they called, the Druids recognized it, witches recognized it, Wicca recognizes it. And that is known as the veil between the living world and those who have passed, the spirit world. And flip side, I wouldn't say it's the opposite of, but on the other side, is this Lionsgate, which is the opening of energy and the spirit world. So between people and the spirit world, and it's a time where of great abundance, and you can ask for things. And you can ask to have more abundance of things that you want, right? And, there's law of attraction and there's manifestation and there's all kinds of things that I never, ever heard of before. There's all kinds of things, but basically there's a wide open, positive energy surge or source that you can tap into tomorrow, through meditation. And, I watched a lot of videos because, I have nothing else to do. I play my chanter, I do that, and I watch YouTube videos because I'm not teaching any classes for a few weeks, and I'm not taking any classes for a few weeks, so I really have nothing to do. Some Red Cross things, I get to do that. But anyway, so you don't want to be greedy, right? So, it would be awesome if I could travel around and talk about life and love and divine love, right? That would be an awesome, awesome, thing to do, in addition to my day job. But I don't have like a lot of money to go traveling around the world, right? I wouldn't be able to fly around the world. I have a camper, but it's like from the 70s and it's not meant for driving cross country. I don't have the resources that would allow me to do that, right? So that's something I could ask for, and, I would, of course, need funding, right? I don't make enough money to kind of live that, jet set lifestyle. So you can ask for money, you can ask for wealth, you can ask for abundance that way. But your intention has to be pure, right? So if your intention is to have a lot of money so that you can just be greedy and live like a greedy person, like, spirits, they're not gonna allow that, right? They're not gonna, I'm not gonna say they're not gonna allow that because I have no idea what spirit allows, but, like intention and purpose and having a plan that's rooted in divine love and spirit, I think that's sort of the goal. And so, you can ask for material things, but I feel like more spiritual things and, just the blessings of God, like knowing God's will and then having the resources to carry out God's will. So if it's God's will that I go and I speak, all over the world about divine love and light, right? Let's say that's God's will for me. Then this is an opportunity tomorrow when this opening happens to ask God. I can ask God all the time. I can ask Spirit all the time for those gifts, but there's an even bigger, like party day, like a super day. And then the energy lasts for about a week, I think maybe 2 weeks. But it gets lesser and lesser each day. So, so tomorrow is a day where you can ask. You can ask every day, but tomorrow's a super day, kind of like, when you go to a sale at Boscov's, right? It's like a super day where you can ask for things in abundance, but you want to clear out bad energy from before. A lot of us carry junk from our childhood. We carry junk from the world we live in. We just carry like all this crap in our spiritual backpacks. And you kind of have to clear that out first so that you can make room for the abundance, right? So if you think about a cup of water, I drink a big cup of water, 2 of these each day, right? So there's no room for, if this is full of all kinds of junk that I've been carrying around in old water and old habits and old relationships that don't serve me or old whatever, if I'm carrying that around, there's no room for the good stuff to get in there. So you've got to like pour it out, wash it out, and then be ready tomorrow on August 8th to ask to have it filled up. And there's no limit to what you can ask for, but of course intention is 100%, and you want to be positive in the asking, and think about things that will serve your highest good, whatever that is, right? Whether it's abundance of love, like that's really what I want. I want to share love. I want other people to feel the love of spirit, right? Now, would I like some spiritual gifts? Like what I'd love to see, people who have passed so that I can share that with other people. I'd love that. I'd love to be a medium. I don't know that's one of my gifts. I'm thinking it's not. So I don't think that's one of my gifts. But if it is one of my gifts, I'm going to ask tomorrow, like if this is a gift and it's for God's will, then, help me develop it, right? And I'm going to be open. That's the biggest thing, is that we are so taught by our culture not to believe things. Like, don't believe this because that's malarkey, and don't believe this because that's woo-woo and whatever. And in religion, I blame religion for a lot of that, right? But when you think about the life of Jesus, he was filled with miracles. The guy did miracles all the time. He was himself a miracle, right? And so he spread light and love everywhere he went. He was killed for it. But he went around spreading light and love. And getting people to focus on God's love and focus on God's will, right? So, Christ provides our example. So, the church, whatever church that is, Christian, Catholic, Roman Catholic, Anglican Catholic, whatever, they give us a lot of rules. And I think those rules bar us from seeing God's grace, because we get so hung up in the color of the vestments that we don't see that our goal is to spread light and love. So tomorrow I'm going to be asking for abundance and in being able to deliver that message, because I do think that there needs to be some people out here, more people out here, who aren't so woo-woo, right? And not that I don't believe in woo-woo, because I do. I believe in some woo-woo stuff, and I'm learning to be more accepting, and I'm learning to let spirit guide me as more than my thinking brain, right? I'm being more accepting. It's hard. It's like cracking open an egg made of rock, right? So I'm being more accepting, but I do think that just like in the world of ethical hacking, which, as you know, I'm going to law school to study, there's so much out there. We need guides. We need people to help people not get hacked. We need people to help people not become victims. And we need people to stand for justice when people are attacked. The same is true in the spiritual world. We need people out here who people can say, she's not in it for the money. I'm not in it. I make no money from any of this, right? Right? She's not in it to look great. I mean, if that were true, I'd have all kinds of fancy equipment, which I have at my disposal. In case you don't know, I could be in a studio. I have 2 of them at my disposal. I choose not to, because I choose to have you see me as I am in my kitchen, which is, from my heart and not from some kind of made up production thing, right? So tomorrow's Lionsgate. You have all day. Take a minute, meditate, breathe in. I always think this is the visual I use. You breathe in through your nose, and I always think I'm breathing in the light and love of God and God's white protection. Breathe that in, and then you want to exhale slower than you inhale. So, and I think about blowing, like, I don't want to say a balloon, but blowing out God's grace around me and just surrounding me with love and protection. So I'm visualizing in God's grace, love, wisdom, and protection, blowing out God's grace, wisdom, and protection. That's going to surround me, and all the bad juju is going to go the other way. It's going to just leave me. And so that I'm protected and I'm in this space of peace and God's grace. So do that a few times. And sometimes, like, you might be having a day. You might need to do it 10 times. Maybe you need to do it 20 times. Maybe once and you're there. It just depends on your day. So, take some time, do that. You don't have to sit, in a lotus position and you don't have to do all that. Like, there's no right or wrong answer. If that's the way you do it, awesome. That's awesome. But you don't need to do that. I lay on my couch with my foot up because that's what I have to do. I don't fall asleep. Be careful not to fall asleep. I do listen to music, meditation music. I listen to different stuff every day. I particularly don't care for guided meditations because people talk and it annoys me. So, I just do my own thing. But you do that until you get into and you'll feel it. You'll feel a shift. You'll feel a shift that you're kind of in a space. And then you know what you do? Nothing. Just be. Just listen. Listen to what Spirit tells you. And I can tell you, as a thinking person, as an intellectual, my rational brain's like, oh, that's just you. That's just your brain talking. And so there's doubt. You have self-doubt. Kick that to the curb. You hear like a noise outside. My phone dings constantly. Just push it to the side. Just push it to the side and listen to Spirit. And Spirit will talk to you. I'm learning how to do that now. I'm not good at it, but I'm getting better. Getting better. It's certainly helped me get through some difficult challenges that I've gone through. My foot, my friend who no longer wants to be my friend, it's helped me connect with my family more. Like, I really wanted to get connected with my brother and his family, and it's working. Like, the things I'm asking for, Spirit is helping me make happen. Or not even helping me happen. The Spirit's making it happen. I'm just more receptive to it. So, so this is just a teeny little video about believe. Just believe. When we watch, Polar Express, which my kids loved as kids, and we rode on it. We have one in our house because my husband loves trains. Believe. Got the ticket. You have the ticket. I'm giving you the ticket. If you don't have the ticket, here's the ticket. You can have the ticket too. And you can believe tomorrow is a day that you can set aside and make some really powerful adjustments. Clear out the bad stuff, fill in with good stuff, and then get to work. I am wishing you all the very best in light and love, and happy Lionsgate Day. Be well. Bye-bye.